All right. Good afternoon or evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Um, we're in for a treat tonight. We have Ms. Gracie Winder with us, and she's going to show us some amazing stuff. And we're going to do a little different than one of our previous ones. She's going to actually do some live stuff right here, so that's going to be really cool. We're gonna see what happens because I don't know. She may create Skynet, and I don't know. We'll see. So just to give you a little bit about Gracie, she does hold a Master's of Science in Industrial Organizational Psychology from Southern New Hampshire University, and currently is the head of learning and development at Treehouse Foods in Ogden, Utah. Yes, believe it or not, there is learning and development in Utah. So she has a passion for creating inclusive and impactful learning experiences. She specializes in using innovative tools like AI to promote equity, especially for neurodiverse learners. She is known for her dynamic teaching style and practical insights, where she blends psychological principles with cutting edge strategies to empower learners and drive meaningful changes in organizational settings. And tonight, she is here to talk to you about using AI in the learning and development space. So, with all of that, I'm going to hand it over to Gracie and let her tell you all the really cool stuff. So, Gracie, take it away.
Perfect. All right, guys, I'm going to start by dropping some links here in the chat. There is an ebook that I created for this course that's going to go into a lot of the fine details that we just can't hit on today. We only have about 40 minutes, so it's not a lot of time. The way we're going to handle today's kind of run through, I'm calling it a run through, another walkthrough. This run through is I'm going to show you how I actually use different AI applications to create a course. I did want to do this initially like a workshop style where you guys would be able to follow step by step. But due to time constraints, I'm going to go a little bit faster and show you exactly what it is that I do. So the links for ChatGPT and for two other applications, Gamma and Piktochart, are all in the chat along with the ebook and a digital link to the ebook if you just want to view it online, PDF if you want to download it. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some stuff here. Screen share. Sorry, guys, we're toggling between screens. Perfect. All right, so the AI Toolbox for L&D. I know that Lee shared a little bit about me, but some other fun facts. I am from Florida, but I live in Utah and I am an avid skier. I'm not sure how that happened after growing up in somewhere so warm and humid, but it happened. Other super fun fact is I did not go through the K through 12 system. I grew up quote unquote homeschooled, but not really homeschooled. In fact, I got my GED when I was 16 years old. So getting my education was pretty impactful for me. Let's move along. All right, what we're going to hit on today. We are going to talk about how to customize ChatGPT. So that's the custom instructions. We are going to talk about how to create a project in ChatGPT. We're going to hit on just a tiny bit of prompt engineering, which will include a template that you guys can just use whenever you're prompting ChatGPT. We are going to do course creation with Chat, create a PowerPoint with Gamma, and create an infographic with Piktochart. I do want to keep in mind, I know that there's Gemini, there's Claude, there's a lot of different AI large language models you guys could be using or you might be more comfortable with, but we are specifically using ChatGPT today because of the projects feature. So just keep that in mind if you're following along. All right. Now, really quick, why the heck am I using AI? In this day and age, I have 1,001 tasks that I have to do every single day, especially in learning and development. A lot of what I do is document creation, creating PowerPoints and videos that get put into some form of learning management system. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of these large language models have been insurmountable in giving me more time. They help with just a myriad of things. A lot of the courses and assessments that I create, grading and reflection materials, tailoring learning materials to different learners. And for me, that looks like people who have maybe like a 5th grade reading level, people that only know English as a second language. It also helps a lot with the feedback collection that we do and analysis of SME interviews. And then, of course, I firmly believe that AI creates a lot of accessibility and equity in learning, and kind of like we spoke to before, for neurodivergent individuals or learners that simply learn differently. So there's a lot of good use cases. So we're going to hop right into ChatGPT. On that note, if anyone notices the beautiful artwork that I've put in throughout this presentation, it is all entirely AI generated, which could be another video for another day, but it's pretty awesome what you can do. So I'm going to move over to ChatGPT. Give me just a moment here. All right, ChatGPT is open. We got it all. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, guys, my computer's having a struggle bus with all these tabs open. Okay, so I mentioned that there is a standard template that I use when it comes to prompting. You're going to see that I use this template throughout everything we do today, making custom instructions, setting up a project, everything. But there's these 5 key things that are included in my templates. We always start with context. Think about it like this. If you are having a conversation with another person and they're not understanding what you're saying, it's because you haven't given them enough context. ChatGPT is exactly the same. You want to start with a clear description of your situation, the background, what it is you're needing. For me, that might look like telling ChatGPT that I'm a training supervisor for Treehouse Foods. This is a production plant for making cookies and waffles. Maybe that's really important to the conversation. You're going to want to give ChatGPT a role. You'll ask them to respond using some kind of particular persona or act as an expert in a certain field. You're going to want to clearly outline the task you want ChatGPT to perform. And you're going to want to tell ChatGPT what format you want its output to be in. This can be things like make sure that your output is in Markdown, make sure that you're using bullet points, just paragraph form. Maybe you want no bullet points. You want it to be in a table. Any of that information you're going to put under format. And then for constraints, you're going to put things like, for example, hey, word count, 700 words, not a single word over 700. There's all kinds of really interesting things that you can do. So, ChatGPT. Now, I've gone ahead for the sake of time and I've set up a lot of these things that I'm going to show you today. But let's start with clear and custom instructions. So when you're looking at the ChatGPT interface, mine might look a little bit different from yours because I have the Pro membership. It's 20 bucks a month. I highly recommend it. It just could not be better. But over in your right-hand corner, there's a little picture of yourself from where you logged in. If you click on that and go to Customize ChatGPT, this is where you can start to give some custom instructions. All right. So, thought starters. Where are you based? What do you do for work? What are some of your hobbies and interests? These are all things that you can put into the first paragraph, which is what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? So for me, I'm going to think really high level. I'm going to go, my name is Gracie Winder, and I am a training supervisor for Treehouse Foods, a production plant. Because I think that's pretty important to mention that it's a production plant, because that is telling ChatGPT, hey, the bulk of the work I'm going to be doing with you needs to be around this topic. We're going to be using jargon that comes from a production plant. We're going to be working on topics about that. It sets the stage. So that's what I wanted to know. And then how would you like ChatGPT to respond? This is a great place to put a generalized tone that you would like ChatGPT to use. Let's see. I would like for you to be concise, straightforward, and educational. You can put whatever you want. There are some other capabilities down here, but for the sake of time, we're going to kind of gloss over that. If you do nothing else inside of ChatGPT to customize it, do the custom instructions because this is going to change your outputs. We make sure it's enabled for new chats, and we're going to go ahead and save. Ooh, let's restart the page. Having a moment here. Oh no. All right, give me 1 second, guys. ChatGPT is throwing a fit. Internet's up. Oh, it's back. Okay. All right then. Let me see real quick. Sorry, guys. Give me just 1 more minute. Something's happened here. I'm gonna log out and go back in. Now, to be fair, ChatGPT has been known to crash, like it's happening right now. It does happen sometimes when there's heavy use, and that is totally fair. If we need to switch to another large language model today, we can totally do that. Chat might be down. Here, let me try this. Here we go. This should work. Sorry, guys. The whole thing. Okay. Well, thankfully, I have both a Teams account and a normal account, and the Teams one seems to be working. So let's get this going again. Hmm. Close the page and open it again. Oh, okay. Well, that is fair. So what we're going to go ahead and do, guys, because ChatGPT is actually having a moment and I can't control everything, is we're going to go to my favorite backup. We're going to hop over to Claude.
Gracie, while you're doing that, we have a question in the chat that I think is very good. We ought to bring up while you're doing this.
This is a good idea.
Yeah, Layla asked, does the pro membership stop ChatGPT from sharing your company-related problems and projects out onto the web for others' access as well, due to the nature of how these LLMs learn from new data sets and store that learning for use in other answers for other people?
So, okay, so ChatGPT, I wish I could show it to you if only ChatGPT was working for me right now. But no, the pro membership in and of itself does not just stop it from sharing information. There are a couple ways that you can get it to cooperate, let's say, and not share information. And typically that is like the Teams. I know the Teams subscription actually has a higher level of safety and protection. But then also you can go into ChatGPT and you can enable, where is the button for it? You can enable incognito mode, which means that none of the information in that current thread is being shared. So Teams, the Teams membership, and incognito mode. The third option is actually to go into your settings, and there is a button. I'm trying to remember where it's at, but there's essentially a button that makes it so that none of your information is contributing to the overall like continuing training of ChatGPT. I'd have to see where it is. Oh, hey, look, things decided to work again too. Look at that, Lee. It's good luck. All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. We are back. I don't know what happened. but it's back. So I switched off of Claude and I came back over. All right, let's hop back into it. And I will look more into the privacy features to see how you might consider like being able to upload more company files or things like that without being concerned about your company files just going out into the wide internet. In the meantime, while I do a little bit more research for you, I would just highly recommend you only put things that are open source, open to the public, non-proprietary information. And that's kind of where we're stuck momentarily. Okay, so over here on the side of ChatGPT, you have general threads. This is where all your threads are, and all of your custom instructions impact all of your threads. Right here, you also have something called projects, which is only available to the Pro membership. At least for now, it gets open to the public all the time with new features. But in projects, you're going to notice two really interesting things. We have another set of custom instructions that we can program, and we have project files. Now, something really important to know about all large language models, and this affects them all to varying degrees, but when you start talking to a large language model using a thread, a couple messages down the line, you're going to start to notice that ChatGPT is starting to lose the context of your initial conversation. It starts to lose bits and pieces because it can't just naturally recall that information from several messages ago. That's just not possible yet. So a project kind of solves that issue for you. A project acts as an umbrella. And in this umbrella, you have new instructions and new files. And these files and instructions are being constantly evaluated and referred to. So ChatGPT is just constantly looking at the instructions. In this case, I have a role, tone, and a format. So there's three of those things from my formatting for ChatGPT. So role in this case, for this entire project, no matter how many threads I put in this project, is the following. Act as an expert instructional designer specializing in workplace training for industrial environments. Tone. Use a clear and educational tone when explaining topics. And format. Use Markdown for formatting. And Markdown, if you're not aware, is it's a computer language essentially. In layman's terms, don't quote me. It's a computer language that when you copy and paste, it can copy and paste formatting from here to Word to a Google Doc. You can download that as a PDF, and it saves its formatting, which was definitely one of my early frustrations with ChatGPT is the formatting getting kind of screwed up. So using Markdown takes that problem. Now for the project files, what I have gone ahead and done is we're going to be creating a course today on how to do lockout, tagout, which is a process at my plant where you are locking out an electrical or pneumatic machinery so that you can work on it without being concerned the machine's going to go off and chop your arm off, take a finger, take a little bit of skin, essentially. So this is a huge safety topic that we talk about all the time. So I've uploaded an interview from a SME where they talk about the step-by-step process for Lotto. And they're going to be able to refer to this the whole time. Now in the ebook, I've included this entire prompt for you guys to practice with later. But what you can see, I'm going to copy and paste it. We have our context, role, task, format, constraints, no longer than 700 words. And I've included something extra that you don't always need to add, but sources. I've included 3 additional websites that ChatGPT is going to reference while it's creating this material. So let's copy and paste our beautifully created prompt. And let's give it a whirl. You can see where I was practicing before. Now, technically, because I put some instructions into, I put some of like my role and my tone into the instructions before placing it here, I don't need to do it again. But one of the things I have learned about all large language models is repeating yourself, repeating instructions just makes the instruction more solid. It seems to pay closer attention. Like if I tell it 3 times across the instructions, we're making a lockout, tagout training. We're making a big lockout, tagout training. We are making a lockout, tagout training. it is really going to pick up on the fact that we've used that word 3 times. All right, let's watch it go. Oh, it's having that issue again. Oh no. You can do it. Oh no. What is going on? Yes, that's all right. We still have Plata. If ChatGPT is really not going to work with me today, if something is wrong, then we can use our same prompt across different large language models. And to be fair, you guys, okay, now it's working. I have actually never had this happen, but if there is a time for it to happen, it would be right now. So that's okay. You guys get to see it real, live action. It's not a YouTube video where they've edited all of the issues out. The issues happen. This one I haven't seen before. All right. So we have created some material, lockout, tagout, safety training course. I have asked it in our task up here and in the format. In the format, I actually asked it to include the following sections: a course title, course description, learning objectives, Lotto steps, like step by step, and a scenario about Lotto, and then wrapping it up with a 5-question quiz. I've asked it for a lot. Let's just see how it did. So because we were so precise in our prompting, I feel like we're going to get quite a good bit out of this. We got a course description with learning objectives. Here's our Lotto steps. I even like that they're numbered and bullet pointed so that they're very easy to follow. And it's even cited its source right here. Lotto scenario. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that the scenario isn't in paragraph form, but that's something we could change. Here is our quiz. Nice. Okay. So the only thing that I genuinely am not in love with is the scenario being in like this format. And I'm reading it and like, I get it. They're talking about the Lotto procedure and how it goes step by step, but I just don't love it. So one of the best ways for you to fix an output is to copy and paste and tell ChatGPT what you did like and what you don't like. So I love the content of this scenario, but not the format. Please reformat. Here we are being polite to ChatGPT. Please reformat this into paragraph form without a numbered list. And then I'm going to include a section. I'm just going to paste it right back in there. Let's see, that's paragraph form for sure. Now, at this point, I could easily take any of the material and ask it to expand upon it. We would do that the same way as how we went ahead and we just changed this into paragraph form. We would copy and paste a section like the Lotto steps and say, expand upon this, give us more information. But for the sake of time, we will not do that today. We have a perfectly good scenario. We have quiz questions. We have everything we need. So now in my day-to-day work, once I've gotten this far and I have like a decent outline of what could be a lesson, there's a few things I could do. I could tell ChatGPT to go ahead and format this into a PowerPoint presentation. I have found that that's sometimes the long way to do this actually. So I discovered a new application called Gamma. It's gamma.app, and I dropped that link in the chat. It's an excellent application, and we're going to try it out. So I'm going to copy the title, the description, learning objectives, and the steps, even the scenario. I'm not going to include the quiz into a PowerPoint. We're just going to copy this, and we're going to run away from chat before it has an issue again. All right. So gamma.app. So I'm already logged in. So let me show you what like the front page would look like really quick. So Gamma, it looks just like this and immediately wants you to sign in. So we'll sign in with Google real quick into the correct application. Sorry, I was in my other account. Let's switch over. Here we go. So inside of Gamma, it uses AI to create PowerPoint presentations, documents, social media posts in roughly 30 seconds, depending on how fast you've gotten at your settings. So we're going to go up here and we're going to click Create New AI. You have several options. You can paste in text, which is what we are going to do. You can generate something from just a one-line prompt. So I could just type in, tell me about lockout tagout. Or you can import an entire file or even a URL link. I'm going to paste in the text. And right there. All right. The next step is it asks you, what would you like to create? A presentation, a web page, a document, or a social media post? We'll stick to a presentation. A couple settings that are really important to note on the side here. First of all, text content. You have three options. You can tell Gamma to use AI to generate further content or to refine your content. You can have it condense. You can condense your topic, so shorten content to make it concise and presentable. Or you can preserve your original content to the best of its ability. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to condense it for a PowerPoint presentation. You can pick how much text you want on each card, which is the equivalent of a slide. And then my personal favorite is the output languages. It has, look how many languages it has. My production plant has 14 spoken languages, and I have to convert it into every single language. It's a huge challenge. And this, I don't even know what some of these say because they're in other languages. Someone does. And it's really, really useful. We've also found that it's more accurate than Google Translate. So the last thing I would say is if you are an AI nerd, you're going to enjoy the fact that it uses AI images or it uses stock photos, and you can choose the different model that it's going to use to create all of its images. We're using premium models today. I'll stick with ideogram. Down here at the bottom, it tells you how many cards are going to be in the presentation. So this is 8 cards is the equivalent to 8 slides. We can keep it that way. That's totally fine. Hit continue. This is your last step. You're almost there, guys. So here you get to pick any of these pre-made themes, and there's a lot of them. I mean, I'm scrolling. There are tons and tons of themes. Or you can do what I have done and go to custom, and you can pick Treehouse Foods. You can put in your company's theme. It's really impressive. For the sake of today, let's do a professional beige and generate, and let's watch it go. Obviously, after you generate something like this, you are going to want to take some time to review everything that the AI makes. Don't just take it at face value, but the interface for Gamma and a lot of the tools that it has, I would compare it to Canva. It's more intuitive than PowerPoint, especially if you're not familiar with PowerPoint. And it's very simple and easy to use. I've enjoyed it immensely. Look how fast it's going. The images usually take a second or two. It even creates graphs and charts. Watch it. There we go. Key takeaways. Lovely. All right, this is fantastic. So go to the very top here. Log out, tag out, course objectives. Now it starts into the lotto steps. It has all of our steps here. Maintenance and removal, real world lotto scenario, and common lotto mistakes to avoid, and key takeaways. It's not going to be perfect, but it was so fast that I don't need it to be perfect because now I can take the time to be creative and actually work through the process and getting my course just right. And then I can scorm it or do whatever process you guys do for uploading into a learning management system. You're able to download it multiple ways here. You can also present it, you can share it, and you can embed it. So there's a lot of options. You can also edit all of the cards simultaneously using AI if you don't want to do it manually. So this has saved me tons and tons and tons of time. All right. The last thing that I want to share with you guys is kind of it's what I do whenever I have just a little bit of extra time to work on a course. I like handouts. I am a textile handout kind of girl. So I want infographics, or I want a short ebook. I want something to take with me from the course. I discovered Piktochart. I always want to call it pictograph. I'm sorry. Piktochart. Piktochart creates a lot of things. I could spend a whole hour just talking about Piktochart, but we're going to stick to infographics today. So we go back to our ChatGPT, and I'm going to take, for an infographic, we don't need a lot of information. I'm going to take just the lotto steps, because I think that's the most important thing to be learned from this lesson is what are the exact steps I need to do? And what better for like an infographic handout than that information? So you have several options when it comes to Piktochart. Just in infographics alone, like you can see there's different options for each one of these, right? But in infographic alone, you want to pick the format that's going to best work with your information. I literally have a list of steps, so I'm going to use list. And just like Gamma, you have the option of creating a one-line prompt to create a graphic or an infographic about that prompt, or you can paste in the text or upload something. So I'm just going to paste in my text. I've selected list, I've selected infographic, super simple. Let's generate. And also, just like Gamma, you're going to have an option. Oops, it threw a fit. Today is the day of computers throwing fits. Okay, there it goes. All right. You're going to have the option on the left-hand side to pick from a variety of templates, including templates that are brand specific to your company. I can pick anything on the side here just for the sake of argument. Let's go with this blue one. And it changes it. You can change any of the images individually, but let's look at what this infographic looks like all together. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just so you guys can see it in full. Okay, there we go. So it's a full infographic, and you can print it in the infographic dimensions and then, cut it down and hand it out in a classroom. You could turn these into videos. I've done that before. You can just share it as a digital handout. But we have all of our steps right here. Very concise. I like it. There's very little, if anything, that I would change. I gave it such specific pieces of information to turn into an infographic. And that's what I would say is probably best practices, is being very specific and deliberate in what you give it, since we have to understand an infographic is going to have a limited amount of information on it. From here, go ahead and download it, preview it, present yourself recording over it. I mean, there is so much to do. Let's do just one more fast thing on Piktochart. See, there I go again. Create with AI. I'm going to show you one more thing that I would create, which would be, let's do that little mini ebook. You guys can see how this creates a multiple page document. ChatGPT. Let's take all of it for the quiz once again. And here, I'll copy this and then I'll go back and grab this scenario. There we go. Okay. So this time, let's do some different stuff with it. Let's go to document. And even here on infographic, you have this new option. This is brand new to me. Create reports, any document. This is a brand new one for me. But in the document slide itself, we have all of these options: cover letters, a full report, a proposal, a business plan, a handbook, an ebook, a case study, a white paper. There's so much. Let's go with an ebook. Come on. Come on, internet. There it goes. Once again, go ahead and pick whatever format you want here on the side or create your own. All right, lotto safety training course. You got table of contents, our introduction, lotto procedures, and the key findings. Not perfect. This one needs a little bit more editing, but still. And then some of the pictures don't quite match. It's okay. We can change out any image with the touch of a button. Touch of a button. And our conclusion. I'm not unhappy with it. It needs a little bit of fine tuning, but honestly, that is all of AI. If you are not fine tuning and being creative, putting the person part back into AI, then you're doing something wrong, frankly. You need to have that human interaction with AI. So that was a whole lot, very, very fast. That was a little bit of issues here and a little bit of issues there, which goes right along with technology. So thank you for your patience, but we are ready to rock and roll for some questions.
So we've got 5 more questions that have come through, Gracie. And the first one is, does incognito mode disable the saving of chats for later?
It does. If you use incognito mode, you are not saving your threads. My understanding right now is to save your threads, you have to deal with the fact that it's going to be using your information. I am going to double check very quickly. Let me open my settings. Security, builder profile, data control. Okay, let me show this to you because I think this will answer several of the security questions that we were kind of going into. I found it in the settings. So in ChatGPT, in your settings that are up here on the right-hand side, you go to data control. And there's this button here that says improve the model for everyone. I have mine as on. You can turn it off at any time. And now it says allow your content to be used to train other models, which makes ChatGPT better for you and everyone who uses it. Otherwise, if we turn it off, it's not using our content to train other models. Now, that being said, I don't know the full extent to which information might still find its way onto the internet, but through this function, you can at least stop it from using your information to train the models itself. I frankly don't know more than that. All right, what else is in here?
So the next one is, have you tried using local models? And if so, what are the benefits and how would you compare local model performance to ChatGPT?
Okay. Well, I would actually come back and say, what do you consider to be a local model? And please feel free to actually turn your mic on and play it out there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah, that was my question. It was so local models. So I use them primarily for privacy purposes. I haven't used ChatGPT in a while. So that's why I was wondering if you had to use local models. So local models are like you can download them in a community-based one, so they're completely free. And so you can download them
Gotcha.
to your computer, and there's different types of apps you can run it. I use something called LM
That's what you
Studio.
mean.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I was like, what exactly is she getting at with that? I have used a handful that I've kind of experimented with. Frankly, from what and to be fair, it's perhaps more limited. I have strayed towards using Claude, Gemini, the new Grok 3 that just came out. I even deep dived into DeepSeek for a little bit. I just find that their outputs are better than the outputs I get from a local model or an application that I can download from like the Microsoft Store. That could be personal preference more than anything, or even practice. It could be that I am more practiced with some of these larger, literally larger language models online. Oh, what model makes the best images? I will get to that one. We can argue that one all day. I hope that kind of answers the question. To be fair, I think my bias towards some of those online models makes it hard for me to speak too heavily on local models.
The next question, in going down the list is, do you still get ChatGPT hallucination issues with examples and sources, or is it better to just give it the sources you want it to summarize and pull insights from?
Oh, yes, the good old-fashioned hallucination problem. So I would be remiss to say that hallucinations don't happen when it comes to the work that I do on a daily basis. I've always been very, very careful to actually check all of the work, check the sources. But what I have found is that the chance of a hallucination, especially like a big one, a very obvious one, actually occurring does go down exponentially when I am being very specific about here are the sources I want you to use. When I'm following that prompt example, that format that I gave you guys, where I'm giving it enough context for it to do its job efficiently, when it has enough details to actually fill in all of the space, so to say, I just don't have those issues anymore with lots of examples and lots of source material. It hasn't been an issue that I've experienced. More often than not, the times that I still experience hallucinations is when I'm having it just search the web and trying to cite its sources. If you're going to do something like that, you're far better off using an application called Perplexity AI. Although the search function on ChatGPT for internet searching, it's gotten a lot better. I would say that Perplexity AI is superior to none. It is amazing when it comes to that, like that deep research kind of functionality. So quite often I'll start in one large language model such as Perplexity, and then I will move over to ChatGPT for the writing, for the summarizing. It's okay to use multiple large language models. That
The
says
next one is, does Gamma export to PowerPoint well?
it does. It does very, very well. There are several different formats that you can use. You can have it set up to just be shown online, or it can change the sizing to make sure that the frames fit perfectly for PowerPoint, but I haven't had issues yet, and I've used it extensively.
Two more questions. The next one is, any original intellectual property, ebooks, white papers, business plans that you put into Piktochart in Gamma, what happens to it on the back end regarding privacy?
I don't know. That's fair. I don't know. I would like to say that with them being a much more focused AI application, so they're utilizing API, built-in API, which I won't go into like extreme detail, but it's not quite the same thing as directly accessing the large language model. And they do talk about in the settings that I've gone through and in the actual websites where I've learned more about Gamma, they talk a lot about security. But am I an expert on that topic? I really don't feel like it'd be fair for me to speak to that. So I fall back on, if it's not open source to the public from my work, I don't upload it. But things like the HR handbook, we have uploaded that into a custom GPT where it references that handbook all day long and helps HR write like corrective actions or different letters and create templates all referencing that material. So I think it's all about your individual company policies and whether or not it's open to the public or it's proprietary. Always, anything that wants you to upload, whether it's AI or not, consider that, because there is some kind of information being stored, AI application or not. Something's being stored. Oh, I know what the last question is. It's my favorite question. I think you both saw my face light up. Oh, I could talk about this all day. Okay. The best model, I will argue with someone. The best model for making images by far, in my opinion, is Midjourney. Midjourney, it created all of the images that I had in my presentation. Like I'll show this to you real fast. Just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I created this image using Midjourney. I created this image using Midjourney. And this first one right here, I'm not going to delete everything on that one, but this is all made in Midjourney. It's all photographic image rendering. It's beautiful. And I would argue just day and night that it is the best thing out there. There are a lot of things that come close. Leonardo AI is fairly user-friendly and it has a lot of features still. I'd say Midjourney is probably a little bit more user-friendly. I have found that DALL-E is getting better at some of its image generation. Still not perfect. I still wouldn't use it as my default, but it's getting better. Ideogram is quite good. And there was one other one. I was just test driving Grok 3 that came out just a few days ago on some of its image generation, and I was impressed with the photographic quality. Now, whether or not it can get creative, I'm still kind of waiting to see. We're still dabbling, but if you have not checked out Midjourney, please, please, please do. I think that's all of our questions. Is there anything else that's come up?
Nope, not since Cam's last question. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add, whether comments or what they've found? Oh, there you go. Layla's got a good one.
Advice for incoming early career people in L&D. Two things. One's AI related and one's not, but I would say when it comes to AI, start to explore now. Start exploring in your personal life. Check out all the different large language models, but do it one at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's okay to give yourself the time to sort through all of the information that you're going to receive. But start dabbling in your just daily life, because it's not going away, and it's going to be a very important skill that can help you to get a job, help you to maintain a job, and appear as an expert in your field. The other thing when it comes to L&D that I had to learn was the importance of creating relationships, especially because so much of what we do revolves around working with a subject matter expert, a SME. These are people from all backgrounds, all different levels of education, but the one thing they have in common is they know way more than I do about the machine. When it comes to like where I work, it's the cookie machine or the waffle machine, the wrapper that wraps the waffles, the cookie extruder for the dough. They know and I don't. So learning how to cultivate relationships with people that are vastly different than myself, and really having a mindset of deep appreciation for them. I think it's made a big difference recognizing that every single person has something to give to me in a good way. That came out a little weird, but you know what I mean? Like, we have something to share. They all have something to share. So, anything else? Thank you, Jeannie. All right. Of course, I am happy. If anyone has further questions or they need help walking through any of these large language models, image generation models, multimedia models for video and things like that, please reach out on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to hop on 20 minutes for a Zoom and walk you through some things. It's something that I really, really love doing. So
Thank you so much, Gracie. Pam, would you drop those links one last time in the chat? Just
Oh,
for
yeah,
anybody who
yeah.
joined late.
Yes, let me go
Gracie.
retrieve them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gracie, for taking your time and just for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And of course, my partners in crime, thank you, Pam and Arlene, for helping my tenuous hold on sanity and helping me get these put together. As I said earlier, this will be posted to YouTube to our page here in a few days if you wanted to watch it again or to share this with someone else. Also, when you close out of Zoom, it will open a page in your browser with a survey. We do ask that you please complete the survey because that helps us as we continue to bring content for you. Because obviously these are for you. That's what we want. We want to bring in to bring the applied in our field to you because there's so much that's just academic and we want to in the work world. So with that, one last shot. Anybody got any last second questions or anything, or just
So something else to add on to what Lee said. I'll be posting the YouTube link to my postings and profile, whatever you want to call it. And through there, you can then subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has all of our previous webinars as well.
yes, thank you, Pam. All right. Any last thoughts, Gracie? Any parting wisdom you want to share?
I'm all out of wisdom. I'm just happy that ChatGPT decided to work.
Right. I'm telling you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And as we said, if you have any further questions, please hit up Gracie online. She is really a nice person, and she usually doesn't bite unless she's really hungry, and then stay away from her mouth. But beyond that, great lady. And are you going to MSIOP this year, Gracie?
We'll be at PSYOP, and I would love to meet each and every one of you.
Yep, I got to meet her last year. Fabulous time. So any of you who are going, hope to meet both. All get together. Anyway, we'll go ahead and sign out of this thing. And and also Jeannie's gonna be there. Sweet. So please fill out the survey so that we can continue to bring good content to you. And thanks. And we'll see you on the web.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.